So أصدق الحديث كتاب الله. Let's start with the book of Allah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل إن كنتم تحبون الله فاتبعوني يحببكم الله. This is a portion of a verse which means, say, if you love Allah, then follow me. Allah loves you. But I can't stop myself, obviously, from thanking my beloved brother and our Shaykh and Ustad, Imam Asim, for all the generous words and comments that he gave, which I'm not worthy of. And I think always good people think that everybody else is just as good as they are. And obviously I can also thank my beloved brother here on my right, because it seems that his voice solo is much better than the voice with all the equipment that they have. So, sometimes needless, mashallah, Allah gives you something that's better. But I guess the brothers were following Imam Ibn Hazm and Imam Ghazali's in opinion of the permissibility of the music. But anyway, I just thought that his voice, sincerely, it's not because of anything. It's an issue of disagreement. We can take it. Obviously, the Jumhur goes one way anyway in this. But, mashallah, Allah blessed him with such a beautiful voice. But Allah blessed him with that and use it for the da'wah and the love of Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And obviously the honorable brother also before, and all of you that are coming here on a Wednesday night, I think, isn't it? Well, thank you for coming. Allah. Answering the call of Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. يا أيها الذين آمنوا استجيبوا لله ورسوله إذا دعاكم لما يحييكم. The meaning of the verse, O people, answer the call of Allah and His Messenger when they call you to that in which there is life in it for you. You could have answered many calls today. You could have answered the call just to stay home and chill. Or as we say in the US, chillaxing. Sort of a mix of chilling and relaxing. Because we're coming up with new languages, new terms as we go. You could have just stayed home and listened to yourself. Look, I'm tired. It's Wednesday night. Let's keep it to the weekend. You could have watched TV. You could have done other things. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you that nur in your heart to make an illumination, to make a righteous decision, inshallah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for your effort and time, and may Allah make that in your page and record in the Day of Judgment. That you would sit in the Day of Judgment and say, Ya Allah, this, I made that day for you. So therefore, before we even start this mudhakara, I don't teach. And like the brother, Allah bless him, mentioned that the scholars are like the stars in the skies anyway, and where are they? Scholarship is way up there. So let's do mudhakara only, because I don't have anything to teach you. You probably have a lot more. All of you definitely have a lot more to teach me. Not you do. So the best thing is to do mudhakara of the Book of Allah. Let's discuss the Book of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. Because today we don't need more information. I always contend. We are saturated. In fact, we're oversaturated with information. Today we need transformation. We just need a little bit of transformation. Information is all abundant today. And thank Allah for Maulana Google. Everybody goes to Maulana Google today, and other all kinds of things, alhamdulillah. But you see, as-Sahaba al-Kiram, may Allah be well pleased with all of them. And it's important to resort to that. Like the brother mentioned. They were about transformation, they were not about information. So before we start talking about this discussion with the Book of Allah, let's all make a niyyah. And if you haven't made that niyyah before, renew your niyyah. Let's do recalibration of the heart. Or let's say, what do you call that? Tune-up? Let's do tune-up of the heart. And the tune-up, let's make this niyyah. We're gathered, all of us here today, this time, this minute, Ya Allah, and we're gathered here just for your sake. We came here just to listen and learn about your book, and we gathered only for you, for nothing else. So if you came because then your friends brought you together, drop that from your heart. If you came because you thought it was going to be fun, that's fine, but drop that from your heart and make it only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you much more than you actually asked for. So we talk about the Mawlid of the best of the creation, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Well, obviously, you know that the Al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's Mawlid is not just, we're not talking about, obviously it's part of the seerah anyway. The seerah, when we talk about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, is not, we're not talking about an actual birth of a human being, just a human being. We're talking about the genesis of mercy and compassion to the universe as we know it. We're not talking about just a birth of a بشر مثلكم أبدا, never. They can't hear me on the screen. It's okay. I'll come closer. It's okay. I like to keep it this cool, you know, cozy. You know what I'm saying? You all know what I'm saying, right? It's night time, you know. Aisha's almost there. For me, anyway. For me, it's actually 4 p.m. It's Asr time. U.S. Eastern Zone. I'm still jet lagged, you know, and as you grow older, you know, that jet lag just extends. Look at the verse, examine it. I'd like you to examine the Quran with your heart, not with your mind. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ. Say, if you love Allah, follow me. Allah will love you. Let me repeat it again. If you love Allah, follow me. Allah will love you. If you love Allah, Allah will love you if you follow me. But notice this portion of the verse begins with, if you love, Allah will love you. Right? It begins with love and it ends with love. Because this whole deen is about love. Our deen as Muslims, our faith as Muslims is based entirely on love. And that's why the verse did not start by ittiba', does not start by saying you need to follow me to love. No. If you love, you'll follow, and in the end you're going to get love. You begin with love, following will get you love. It's all about love in the beginning, at the end, and also in the middle. And if we don't understand that, if we think that then deen is just a theory and books and information, if there is no transformation, if there's no true love that's illuminating, that's going into your heart today, right now, and cleansing your heart, just purifying it. And wudu is not supposed, the point of wudu is not that you wash your face and wash your hands and wipe your hair and then wash your feet. The point of wudu that you wash your heart before you wash your hands. If you're not washing your heart before you're washing your hands, there's a problem with your preparation for that standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no salah then per se in that sense. The deen is mahabba. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ. You see, oftentimes people say you gotta follow, and follow would lead to love. People follow people, they don't love them. Right? You follow your boss at work, you don't necessarily like your boss. You fear your boss, maybe. Some people follow because of fear. And some people follow because of greed. I follow you, what's in it for me? As long as there's something in it for me, then I have no problem. But see, this following is not, therefore following is not the essence. Therefore, Quran did not say, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تَتَّبِعُونَ فَأَنْتُمْ مُحِبُّونَ. Did not say if you adhere, then you love. No. It says, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ فَاتَّبِعُونَ. If you love, you follow. Because following stems from love.
Because this whole thing is about love. How can you go to Jannah and you don't love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? There is a hadith, Tirmidhi rahimahullah narrated in his Jami'. The hadith has a sahih sanad. Look at this hadith of Al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and I'd like you always to listen to the Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with your heart, not just with your ears. Right? Call it active listening versus hearing. Now, and the Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the best of the creation, like has been reiterated and mentioned. It's known, it's a given fact. But look when he makes dua to Allah. Now I want us to learn from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Because my dear beloved brothers and sisters, today, people are glorifying everybody. This is glorified. This is azim. This is really great. No, this is great. And they get figures and they get things, whether it's sports, whether it's musical, whether it's scientific, whether it's even religious, whatever figures or things or creation. And we call them, oh, this is great. And then we're attached to them. And they fill our hearts. And we try to emulate, and we try to look like them, and we try to talk like them, and we're given all these things that we call azim. But I don't want you to be fooled. The only azim is the one whom Allah called azim. If people call others azim, that doesn't necessarily make them azim. You see, people are imperfect, and their judgment is also not necessarily perfect, could be imperfect. But when Allah says someone azim, that is the true azim. And therefore you need to follow that true azim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Noon wal-qalam wa ma yasturun. Ma anta ya Muhammad. Ma anta bi ni'mati rabbika. بمجنون وإن لك لأجرا غير ممنون وإنك لعلى خلق عظيم. You are who are azim, ya Rasulullah. Don't be chasing others who people call azim. You're going on a wild goose chase. You're going nowhere. Fill your heart with the one who's truly azim. And you know why he's azim? Because Allah told us he is. It's not my judgment or your judgment. It's not X, Y, and Z's great figure judgment. I want you to be in touch with Rasulullah. Feel his words. Listen to him with your heart, not your ears. Feel his love. Because he sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam loved you before you could ever love. And he gave you before you could ever give. اشتقت وددت. Many of the narrations that are authentic. وحسن. اشتقت وددت. I wish I saw my brothers. They tell him, Ya Rasulullah, aren't we your brothers? He was yearning to see you before you even were created. He loved you before you could even love yourself or love anything. You want to be with... هل جزاء الإحسان إلا الإحسان? Isn't the reward of something good except that you're good? Al-Quran asks us a question. Today, I'm not going to teach you anything that you already know all that stuff and then some. But we don't want to talk information. We want transformation. We want love to come inside of our hearts, not just stop at our ears. And that love makes you a better person. I always say, a good Muslim is a good human being in the first place. One who cares genuinely about the well-being of everything. I don't mean every Muslim only. I don't mean every human being only. I don't mean every living thing only. But everything. You're channeling the Muhammadan compassion after all. You're supposed to. Look at this hadith and listen to the Al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam talking to you. with his own dua. He says in his dua, he says, Allahumma inni as'aluka fi'la al-khayrat wa tarka al-munkarat. Wa hubba al-masakin. Ya Allah, I am beseeching you, I'm asking you. What are you asking, Ya Rasulullah? What are you asking from your Lord? He says, oh Allah, I'm asking you to do fi'la al-khayrat. The ability, capacitate me to do good. This is not just a dua, my beloved brothers and sisters. The capacity to do good, the willingness to do good. A lot of people, they see things, Allah gives them opportunities to do good, but they just walk by and bypass it. If you're doing good, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted you a great favor. Tonight, like I said, you could have gone anywhere else you wanted. But you came here. Oh Allah, I'm asking you to put the willingness within me to do good, to want to do good. Please. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَافْعَلُوا الْخَيْرَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. Allah says, do good so that you might be successful. What are we doing? Positive contribution that Al-Quran Al-Kareem wants to put within us. فِعْلَ الْخَيْرَاتِ. Fi'l al-khayrat, what does that mean, doing good? Random acts of kindness. Just go and be kind to any and everybody, especially those you don't like. Go and be kind. Pray for the good, for the well-being of people, especially those you think who are wrong and misguided. Pray for them. Sunnah. Not pray against them. Pray for them. Fi'l al-khayrat. Help out a senior citizen that you don't know and you don't like, maybe Muslim, maybe not Muslim, whatever it is. Positively contribute to your well-being and your society and your community and your country and the world as a whole. And if people ask you, why are you doing this? Say, I follow Muhammad Rasulullah. Fi'l al-khayrat is not that you only worry about your own well-being. That's not what the Prophet ﷺ taught us. Not only about your own family's well-being, because that's not what he taught us. Not about only your community's well-being, because that's not what he taught us. But you have that fikr and concern about the whole creation. This is a call for action, my beloved brothers and sisters. Allahumma, let's don't go through dua, otherwise I don't want to take too much time now. Allahumma inni as'aluka fi'la al-khayrat wa tarka al-munkarat, and abandoning the wrong things. This is a teaching for us. Ask yourself, does Allah give you opportunities to do good when you just close a blind eye? Those are opportunities that are counted, by the way. Does Allah, do you have in your heart the willingness to avoid doing wrong? Or you just slip into gossiping and backbiting or whatever it is without any censorship, without any feeling, smooth transition. Check your heart. Check your heart. Allahumma inni as'aluka fi'la al-khayrat wa tarka al-munkarat. And notice what he says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَحُبَّ الْمَسَاكِينَ. And the love of the masakin. And we can talk about the masakin for a long time, but I mean, al-miskin is not necessarily the one who doesn't have any money. Maybe, maybe not. You know, Allah talks about the people who own a ship as masakin. وَأَمَّا السَّفِينَةُ فَكَانَتْ لِمَسَاكِينَ. You know, the safina in the surah of Al-Kahf, the ship was owned by masakin. So masakin on a ship, that's pretty good for masakin. يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ أَنْتُمُ الْفُقَرَاءُ إِلَى اللَّهِ. Those who feel the maskana towards Allah. What does that mean for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Those who bring into their heart that understanding that I am needy of you, Ya Allah. I am present. Allah is with me wherever I am. I am needy of you, Ya Allah. I cannot blink my eye if it's not for your will, Ya Allah. I cannot come here if it's not for you, Ya Allah. I cannot eat. I cannot think. Everything I have is what you gave me, Ya Allah. And that's the hubb of the masakeen. Loving those people who love Allah, that makes you a better person. But the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam does not leave it here. وَإِذَا عَدْتَ بِعِبَادَكَ فَإِنَّهُمْ فَقْنُضْنِي غَيْرَ مَفْتُونٍ. Then he said, look at this, and I want you to focus on this portion of the dua. Still we are with the same hadith of Mu'adh. He says, Allahumma inni as'aluka hubbak. Oh Allah, I am asking you to grant me your love. Al-Habib al-A'zam, wa-Rasul al-Akram, والنبي الأفخم والنور المجسم والكنز المطلسم صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. He is asked, he is the one who's أنا أخشاكم بالله أنا أعلمكم بالله. All these hadith are authentic from Bukhari وغيره, etc., etc. I am the most knowledgeable in Allah. I am the most this. He says, oh Allah, I am asking you to grant me your love. Ya salam. And look how Allah talks about Musa. وَأَلْقَيْتُ عَلَيْكَ مَحَبَّةً مِّنِّي. Oh Musa, the meaning of the ayah, I have thrown my love onto you to wrap you around. Like the love of Allah is wrapping Musa around. وَأَلْقَيْتُ عَلَيْكَ. I have thrown my love on you. Like showering him all over. If that's the case for Musa, then how about the case for the master of Musa? Allahumma inni as'aluka hubbak. Ya salam. I want you to memorize these adiyat. And oftentimes, and I get always asked by people, Shaykh, which dua should I do? This dua, or this dua, or that dua? Ya Habibi, there is nothing better than the dua that came out of the honorable lips of the best of the creation. And it suffices. It's not about the rhythmic. It's not about the poetic end of it. It's not the point that the words rhyme, but the point is that your heart rhymes with the dhikr of Allah. Not that your lips rhyme with the dhikr of the words. Who cares about the words? Who cares about the words? The words are just expressions, but the state of your heart is what matters. Allahumma inni as'aluka hubbak. Oh Allah, I am asking you to grant me your love. And today we need to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tonight to ask Him to grant us His love. So, because if the love of Allah comes to you, okay. But if you have the love of everything else in your heart and you don't have the love of Allah, you're going to be struggling. Hadith, or actually let me just say this, you all know it, Ghazali mentions it in Yahya, Tirmidhi, in Nawadir, etc., etc. Like the hadith has really no, it's not really a hadith, it has no asl, it has no sanad whatsoever, so it's not even hadith, but the meaning is correct. So I'm going to tell you the narration without attributing it to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allegedly that narration goes that Allah told أوحى لداود عليه السلام. He told Dawood, Abdi, anta turidu wa ana urid. Oh my slave, you want and I want. Anta turid, you want, wa ana urid, and I want. وَلَنْ يَكُونُ إِلَّا مَا أُرِيد. But nothing will happen except what I want. You think you want? This is His dominion. He created everything. He gave you the shortest way. What's the shortest way between A and B? Straight line. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Right? He gave you the صراط المستقيم, didn't he? وإنك يا محمد وإنك لتهدي إلى صراط المستقيم. You are the one who guides to the straight path. So you don't beat around the bush. You don't go in your life in circles. Go to the straight line because it's the closest way. Otherwise, you're going to spend your life circling around and you'll be lost. You want and I want, but nothing will happen except that which I want. فَإِنْ أَطَعْتَنِي فِي مَا أُرِيدُ, if you obey me in what I want, أَعْطَيْتُكَ مَا تُرِيدُ, I'll grant you what you want. What do you want? What do you want? All of you, don't you want to be happy? I mean, what makes you happy? So people associate happiness with money, or associate happiness with fame, or associate happiness with name, or associate happiness with whatever. What do you want? Whatever you want, that happiness. فَإِنْ أَطَعْتَنِي فِي مَا أُرِيدُ أَعْطَيْتُكَ مَا تُرِيدُ. If you obey me in what I want, I'll grant you what you want. You will be happy. وَإِن لَمْ تُطِعْنِي فِي مَا أُرِيدُ, if you disobey me in what I want, أَتْعَبْتُكَ فِي مَا تُرِيدُ, you will struggle and suffer trying to get what you want. But at the end, لَن يَكُونُ إِلَّا مَا أُرِيدُ, but nothing happens except what I want. You want to be happy? Allahumma inni as'aluka hubbak. The first thing, I ask you your love. Not just what you want, but your love. It's one thing to obey Allah, it's another that Allah gives you or grants you His love in your heart. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَكِنْ كُونُوا رَبَّانِيِّينَ. Anyway. The second dua of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, after he said that, Allahumma nis'aluka hubbak, he says, وَحُبَّ مَنْ يُحِبُّكَ. Oh Allah, I ask you to grant me your love, and look at that, and I ask you to grant me the love of those who love you. What do you mean? That I love those who love you, Ya Allah. And Nabi Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is asking this so we can learn. Not only the love of Allah, but the love of those who love Allah. Oh Allah, put in my heart the love of those who love you. And that helps. What if they're dead? What, the hadith doesn't say they're dead or alive. Huh? What if they passed away to the next world? It's just love of those who love you. Just, what do you mean? Loving of those who love Allah helps? If it doesn't help, why would Al-Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam make dua for it? Does he make dua for things that are useless? Oh Allah, grant me your love and the love of those who love you. Then he says, what do you mean the love of those who love you? Like the hadith of Bukhari Muslim, when the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam stood on the mountain of Uhud. I'm not talking about just people, by the way. Huh? I'm not talking about people. Yeah, of course, people are more honorable than other things. If you, Sayyidina ibn Umar, the hadith that Ibn Majah and others narrated, but isnad is Hasan, and you all know it, that he stood in front of the Kaaba and said, Ma a'zamaki, ma akramaki, O Kaaba of Allah, you are so glorious, you are so great, but the honor of the mu'min is greater than you. I'm not talking about loving people. No, that's a big thing. Loving al-anbiya, wa-siddiqeen, wa-shuhada, wa-salihin. Like even loving stones. What do you mean? Stones love? Yeah. Stones love. Really? Really? Dalil. Here's the dalil. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the authentic hadith, Bukhari Muslim hadith. He stood up on the mountain of Uhud, and you know what he said? He says, هذا أحد, this Uhud, جبل يحبنا ونحبه. Uhud is a mountain that loves us and we love it. Ya Rasulullah, a mountain loves you? Of course a mountain loves. You may not comprehend how a mountain loves, but the mountain loves Al-Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Not only the mountain and the tree that came, Hadith al-Bukhari also was weeping because of the love of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Hadith al-Hakim that is Hasan, al-Hakim authenticated it, where the pebbles were making Assalamu Alayka Ya Rasulullah. These things were interacting with the Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam because they had the love, and their love was so much that they couldn't hold their mouths closed. They had to say Assalamu Alayka Ya Rasulullah. Jabal. A mountain professes the love? No. ثم قست قلوبكم من بعد ذلك فهي كالحجارة. Allah says في سورة البقرة, the ayah is known. Your hearts became so enclosed, so hard, so rough and tough. They became like stones. But wait, وَإِنَّ مِنَ الْحِجَارَةِ لَمَا, some stones. Al-Quran says like stones, but then tells you how some stones split. And some stones يَشَّقَّقُ فَيَخْرُجُ مِنْهُ الْمَاءُ وَإِنَّ مِنْهَا لَمَا يَهْبِطُ مِنْ خَشْيَةِ اللَّهِ. And some stones fall from the khashya of Allah, but your hearts don't. Comparing the stones, the stone may fall from the observance of Allah. Oh Allah, ask, grant me your love and the love of those who love you. And then he says, وَحُبَّ عَمَلِي يُقَرِّبُنِي إِلَى حُبِّكَ. And the love to do a deed that brings me closer to your love. This is a hadith about love. But this ayah also is talking about love. Oh Allah, give me your love, the love of those who love you, and love of a deed that makes me close to your love. It's all about love. If there's no love, check your heart, because your heart may be dead. Why does Al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam then tell us that loving Al-Madinah, what's Medina? Stones? Stones help? Yeah. What do you mean they help? Well, if you love Al-Madinah, why do you kiss the black stone? Do you love stones? Or you love the stone because someone kissed the stone? If you kiss the stone and love that stone, does that love of the stone help you? You're doing the sunnah, of course it helps you. Hadith Sufyan radiallahu anhu fi Bukhari. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells him about what will happen in the future. تفتح الشام. Sham will be liberated. Well, he tells him what happens to Sham, وكذا, and then he says, وَالْمَدِينَةُ خَيْرٌ لَهُمْ لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ. But Medina is better for them, if you know. So now what is he doing to your heart? He says, okay, Sham is great, it's going to be liberated, but Medina, put Medina in your heart, it's better for you. Then he says, تفتح اليمن. Yemen will be liberated. And he tells him about Yemen and this, and oh, everyone is excited. Then he ends up by saying, وَالْمَدِينَةُ خَيْرٌ لَهُمْ لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ. But Medina is better for them. Look at your heart. He's trying to teach you to direct the compass of your heart to where? To Medina. And then he says, تفتح العراق. Iraq will be liberated. And then he tells him about Iraq, كذا كذا كذا. Then he says, وَالْمَدِينَةُ خَيْرٌ لَهُمْ. Ya Rasulullah, you're telling us about the world and all these things, but then you're bringing my heart back right to Medina, because attach your heart to Medina. Why do you need to attach your heart to Medina? Because Iman itself, if it was an entity, if Iman itself was embodied in an entity, it would seek refuge in Medina for salvation. إِنَّ الْإِيمَانَ لَيَعْرِزُ إِلَى الْمَدِينَ. Hadith al-Bukhari. إِنَّ الْإِيمَانَ لَيَعْرِزُ إِلَى الْمَدِينَ كَمَا تَعْرِزُ الْحَيَّةُ إِلَى جُحْرِهَا. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He says, Al-Iman itself goes and seeks refuge in Medina like a snake seeks refuge in its hole. If Iman is seeking refuge in Medina, ya Habibi, then where should be your heart today? But Medina has bricks. Does that help me? Yeah, the love of Medina will help you, sure. What do you mean it helps? Hadith al-Bukhari, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu mentions the hadith, narrates the hadith, and he talks about people, seven kinds of people. Remember the 7 kinds who will be granted a shade in the Day of Judgment, where no one is granted a shade but the one whom Allah grants? Yeah, remember the hadith? So Sayyidina Abu Hurairah says that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned that there will be 7 people in the Day of Judgment who will be granted a shade by Allah. سبعة يظلهم الله في ظله يوم لا ظل إلا ظله.
He talked about 1, 2. I don't want to talk about the whole hadith because otherwise it'll be long and I know it's getting late. You all need to go home.
The third one the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentions, who will get a shade in the Day of Judgment? When no shade is granted but that which Allah gives. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, وَرَجُلٌ قَلْبُهُ مُعَلَّقٌ بِالْمَسْجِدِ. A person whose heart is attached to the masjid. قلبه, القلب means the heart. قلبه معلق. معلق means attached with the masjid. He didn't say with the people in the masjid, with the masjid. With the masjid is bricks. If your heart is attached with the bricks of the masjid, may you be then granted a shade. Absolutely, Al-Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if you love the masjid, you're loving just, if you love the masjid, your heart is attached. Look how Al-Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam is trying to have the ta'alluq of your heart. Oh Allah, inni as'aluka hubbak. I am asking you to grant me your love. Where should the ta'alluq of your heart be? With the love of Allah. And then, وَحُبَّ مَن يُحِبُّكَ. And the love those who love you, Ya Allah. And then love of a deed that makes me closer to your love. And therefore, I think nobody understood this maybe, huh? I'm not saying I have an evidence, yani a dalil, a narration that says that. But my hunch thought when I hear about Sayyidina Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu wa ardah, the first righteous Khalifa and the best of the Sahaba, may Allah be well pleased with them all, I think he's the one who understood it most. Look at this. Oh Allah, what did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says? Oh Allah, I ask you to grant me your love. حُبَّكَ وَحُبَّ مَن يُحِبُّكَ. And the love of those who love you. And the love of a deed that makes me closer to your love. So Ibn Majah or others narrated with Hadith Hasan. As far as it's said, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam obviously needed some money. You all know the event, I'm not teaching you anything new. Sayyidina Umar al-Faruq radiyallahu anhu wa ardah comes and he gives half of his money to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu comes and he puts the money. He doesn't say anything. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in order to teach us, to teach me and you, he says this. What have you left for your family, Ya Abu Bakr? You put this money, but what have you left for your family? He said, I left them Allahu wa Rasuluh. Allahu wa. What have you left them, Ya Abu Bakr? I left them Allah and His Messenger. Oh Allah, I ask you your love. What does Abu Bakr say the first thing? Allah. What did you leave them? Do I need to leave them with the love of anything in the dunya? No. I left them Allah and alaysa Allahu bikafin abdah. Isn't Allah enough for His slave? Allah is enough. All I left them is Allah. I left them nothing and Allah is enough. If they have the love of Allah, they don't need anything else because He grants them then everything they need. But if you have everything you think you need and you don't have the love of Allah, then you don't have anything. You're a fool. But he didn't only say that. He said, I left them Allah and His. Oh Allah, inni as'aluka hubbak wa hubba man. And the love of those who love you. But who loves Allah and the creation more than Rasulullah? Who loves Allah and the creation more than Rasulullah? No one can love Allah more than the Prophet ﷺ. That's why Abu Bakr said, I left them Allah and His Messenger. The love of Allah and the love of His Messenger. And isn't giving an act that makes you closer to the love of Allah anyway? لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You should not attain piety and closeness to Allah basically until you spend from that which you love most. Let me finish with this hadith because we don't want to talk. Again, we want to experience love. We don't want to talk about love. We want to experience the love of Rasulullah. Hadith Abu Sa'id al-Khudri is not al-Bukhari narrated, Muslim, or many people, huh? Like I'm going to just sort of rely on Ibn Majah's narration, though the Sanad of Ibn Majah is sahih. Once upon a time, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is telling them about something long time ago. Once upon a time, there was a man who killed 99 people. Killer, he's a mass murderer for a living, that's what he does. He just kills people. And one day he sort of clicked in his mind. He said, I need to do tawbah or something. You know, is there a way out after I kill those people? So, فَسَأَلَ فَدُلَّ عَلَى رَاهِبٍ. He asked around, he says, look, you know, can someone help me with this my situation? So they pointed him out to someone who worships Allah a lot. Rahib is someone who worships Allah. Yani day and night he's worshipping, huh? 24/7. That's all he does. And you know these people who worship Allah 24/7 like this, if they miss something little, it's a huge thing. Anyway. Father, he went to this worshipper, this extreme Zahid, Abid, worshipper, Rahib. He went to him and said, look, I killed 99 people. Is there a way out for me? He said, after you after you killed 99 people, now you don't. Now this Rahib, if you miss little salah, you're gone. You're done, it's over. Not you kill people. At 90, you killed 99, you have the audacity to come and tell me? He says, after 99, go. And this killer looked at this, he says, you know, since there's no way for me, let me kill him too. So he killed him. Might as well. So now he's got 100. He's going around, he kept asking. Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides people in a way that people don't know. You know, you didn't plan to come to this event or other events, or something happened, but then you came and it changed your life. It came, and for a long time you felt the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That may help you carry you in the akhirah, you never know. Or somebody who was not Muslim, for example, or was Muslim but was on the other ways and all this, Allah shows him ways. And then he said, I'm just going to turn a blind eye, I didn't see it. You know you're seeing it, it's registering there. And then you keep going and Allah shows you something else along the line. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows you things all the way along the line until you click on, because Allahu latifun bi'ibadih. Allah is latif, He wants to get you back. He wants you to be back. Like the Sufis say, وَإِذَا الْعِنَايَةُ لَحَظَتْكَ عُيُونُهَا نَمْشِ فَالْحَوَادِثُ كُلُّهُنَّ أَمَّانِ. If the inayah of Allah, if the care of Allah, if the divine care is with you, don't worry, go. And wherever you are, you're okay. Doesn't matter what. No matter how people think it's unsafe, it's safe for you. You can sleep next to the lions because the Rabbani inayah is around you. The Rabbani care is protecting you. It doesn't matter where you are. Huh? He asked, it seems like it's coming back to his mind. Allah is putting this thought in him. He says, look, I killed 100 people. Is there a way for me to go? This time, فَدُلَّ عَلَى عَالِمٍ. Imam Muslim mentioned that they pointed him towards a scholar, someone who has ilm. I mean by ilm, I don't mean someone who has been schooled only. Alim, from alam, the world, and in the old days, the alim was the alam. He had knowledge of the world, not only knowledge of one thing versus the other. Right? It was alim. Alim. Anyway, he went to this alim. First he went to a rahib, to someone who's zahid, abid. He does a lot of ibadah. This one, he does ibadah, but he has also knowledge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he told them the story. He says, look, I killed all these people. Is there any way for me? He says, وَمَنْ يَحُولُ وَيْحَكْ مَنْ يَحُولُ بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَ اللَّهِ. Woe to you! Who would ever stand between you and Allah? He says to him this: the village you're in is a bad village. قَرْيَةٌ خَبِيثَةٌ. You are living in a very bad place. I want you to leave the bad village and go إلى تلك القرية الصالحة كذا وكذا. Go to this good village. That's it. He says, that's it? He says, that's it. Look at that. So he went to his home where the bad village is. Packed his stuff. Bismillah. Where is he going now? What is in his heart? What's his direction in the heart? Good village. Does he know anybody in the good village? Yeah, I never heard of him before. He has no clue who the good village is. He just knows that there's a good village, and he doesn't know any person. There's no human person that he knows in that good village. Only he knows it's a good village, so his heart now is attached to a village. Stones, villages, stones. لا ينفع ولا يضر حقيقة. هو النافع والضار هو الله. Anyway, he left his home from the bad village. He is going to the good village. Halfway through the way, halfway through. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Somebody comes in. Time's up. Time's up. Can I have one more second? Time's up. Your time's up. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Your breath are counted. From the minute you're born, your breath is counted. Don't waste your breath. Malakul Maut, the angel of death, came to him. Halfway through, says, your time's up. Come on, let's go. He took him halfway through. Now he's dead. Both camps of al-Malaika now, as far as the riwayah of al-Majah, is arguing. The Malaikatul Rahmah or Malaikatul Adab. The angels who are in charge of punishment and the angels who are in charge of mercy. Now, how do we do this? Huh? Well, what do we do? So they settled on a thing. They said, all right, let's measure the distance between where he died here now to the old village and the distance from him to the good village. If he's closer to the bad village, take him to Jahannam. If he's closer to the good village, take him to Jannah. Wait a minute. Closeness to village, to stones, hell? Stones, village, what's a village? So if you love the village and if you have it in your heart and you're slightly closer to it, it helps you. We're talking authentic narrations here, right? So we're not talking fairy tales here. And I know you're all college students and university students, and there's no need for spoon feeding. So you extract these things. The one who helps is Allah, and the one who benefits is Allah, and the one who afflicts is Allah. But Allah puts things, reasons there. Measure the distance between the bad village and between him and the bad village and between him and the good village. If he's closer to the bad village, Jannah. If he's closer to the good village, Jannah. SubhanAllah. They measured, and he was one handspan, only one handspan closer to the good village. He just put one handspan, he was closer to the good village, and Allah ordered him to Jannah. What's in your heart today? The good village or the bad village? Where are you closer to? Make sure you're closer to the good village. Well, there's no better village than Medina. But wait a minute. Medina only became honorable because Al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam honored that it became Medina. Medina would not have been honorable had it not been for the feet of the Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam touching it. So the whole bricks and the love of Medina cannot be even compared to the love of the Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Where's the Mustafa in your heart is the question. Alayhi wa alayhi wa sallam. It's not lip service. Where is he in your heart? Because if he's in your heart, then you have a Mawlid every day. Because Mawlid means you're expressing happiness for his birth. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You would not be a mu'min if you're not happy for the birth of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, obviously. You would be every day happy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him to you, and you would show your happiness by gratitude to Allah. Being a handspan closer to a good village helped the man. What about if you are just a handspan closer in love to the best of the creation, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? I'm not talking about stones. I'm talking about SayyId al-Anbiya wa Mursalin, khayru khalqillah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. I'll tell you this and I'll finish with this. Stones that were associated with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam were elevated. Medina is elevated because of him. Before it was called Yathrib. And before it was a center for disease. You go to Yathrib, you'll have a fever for at least 7 days. You might make it, you might not make it. Humma Yathrib, it's known. The fever of Yathrib. The minute he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam stepped foot on that soil of Medina, Medina is no longer a center for disease, it became a center for healing. So he tells you, if you eat some dates of Medina, and the authentic narrations, you all know that. If you eat some dates of Medina, that will be a healing for you. Al-Madinatu khayrun lahum. The Medina became all of a sudden better for you. Why? But Medina is stones, Ya Rasulullah, before it was at that place. But now because the bricks and the soil is associated with his janab, sallallahu ta'ala ala janabuhu al-aqdas, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Now it became honorable. Stones became honorable because they were associated with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If your heart is associated with Rasulullah, your heart is more honorable than stones, then it can also be elevated. Let's think about this, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala illuminate your heart today and every day. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring the love of Allah in your heart. And the love of His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam also in your heart. May Allah cleanse our hearts with the love of Him and His love. And the love of Him, His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the love of things. May Allah put in our hearts love to do, the willingness to do or to love things that Allah loves us to do. We want to be closer to Allah. We don't want to just talk about being closer to Allah. We want to take actual steps to be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah purify our hearts, illuminate our hearts. May Allah illuminate all your hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the nur of His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in your hearts, in your eyes, in your ears, in your bodies, in your dunya, in your akhirah, in your families. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always make us see with that nur. Because otherwise we're blind, even if you've got eyes. Because man lam yaj'al lahu nuran fama lahu min nur. If you don't have a nur, then no matter how many eyes you have, you can't see. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.